So thank you, Marcia, for sitting down and speaking about your upcoming book with us. I want to start with the obvious. What compelled you to write this book? And most especially, why now? You're sharing some very personal details about your life and your history to your community and to the world. So can you tell us more about why?
Well, Sasha, to be honest with you, I never thought about writing a book. Yes, I love writing, but to actually put a book together, it never crossed my mind. And the idea came from a friend and a client of mine, and she told me this was a message from God, but I should put a book together. So this got me thinking, and I asked myself a few questions. How do I start? Where do I start? And I remember I called you one afternoon and I threw this idea to you so you can guide me. You always come to mind when the inspirations, when new creative ideas come to Marcia. I call Sasha. So thank you for being there as always. So I guess that I'm not a guru. I don't perform miracles. I'm just an ordinary woman. I am Marcia. And becoming a femme fascination, my journey is about the journey of an ordinary woman, going through different phases, stages in my life. I have experienced both failures, success, and I want to put something, to create something beautiful for the world, for the ladies, for my clients, and hoping that whatever I have learned, be it as a wife, as a businesswoman, as a daughter, as a child of God, whatever setbacks I have encountered, that can help and impact others by learning, if you want, because each chapter I have talked about my experience, which I will go into details a bit later, and what I have learned and what advice I will give. So I will say that the books is targeting for every woman from different walks of life.
There are definitely topics in this book that people can relate to very closely.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Complex relationships with your family, complex relationships even with your own husband. Can you tell us a little bit more of how you navigated these relationships?
Yes. I wear different hats. Like you said, as a wife, married woman, as a daughter, and I was employed with the Seychelles Tourism Board as well for 10 years. And now, as you know, I have my own business. And first, it's important when you go through those stages in life and whatever experience that you learn, you take it as a learning curve. Because our past, and for me that's what I believe, and that's what I remind myself, my past is not my home. My past is not my home, and whatever happened in the past, like different phases, I believe that it meant to happen, and I'm glad I did. It did happen, because I took that and learned from that, and which enabled me to grow and expand and to become where I am today.
It's funny you mentioned learning and growing. That's,
yes,
for me, one of the recurring themes of this book, right?
Yes.
Is to rise out of your own circumstances,
Yes.
and break those chains, break out of those boxes.
Definitely.
Can you tell us a bit more of how you decided to work on yourself when it could have been so easy to just point a finger at others or be vindictive?
Definitely. So I put somewhere in the book that I made a conscious decision. When I said I made a conscious decision, I believe that our decision and our choices shapes our destiny. It's very important. Conscious decision, I know that, like I said, I did not want to live in my past because just to give you a little what I spoke about my past. Growing up in Seychelles, I grew up in the 1980s. First, we have the society pressure. What do I mean? Pressure from our parents and from society. Parents, in the sense, in the 80s at that time, about 95% to 97% of the population was the Roman Catholic. So there were like norms and traditions that we needed to follow. And my mom especially, she is actually very religious compared to my father. So we have to go to church every Sunday. There were rules that we need to abide. I'm not disputing that it was wrong, but that's how it was. And our parents do what they know. They do what they think is best for the family. And as you know, and you've been in Seychelles for a while, obviously, and population is less than 100,000. And at that time, it was less than 80,000, if not mistaken.
Wow.
So everybody knows each other. So living in Seychelles, when I say putting in a box of culture, for me it means that you either fit in. If you don't fit in, you feel like you're an outcast. So at the end of the day, everybody, you, me, all of us, we have the same desire. The desire to feel love, to feel joy, to feel at peace. We are all searching, we are all human beings, we have that desire. So when we want to feel belong, part of a group, whether friends or family or even our own partners, so what do we do?
What do we do?
Exactly. So we want to feel loved, we want to feel belonged. So we have to fit in. Sometimes at the expense of our own happiness, because we are trying to please others. So that's the first box. The other box that I was in, and that started around 13, 14 as a teenager, I started putting weight. And my weight loss journey has been for years and years. And I talk about the book as well in chapter 4, healthy living, about healthy living, how it started, what caused me to go and look comfort in the food.
There are some very, very interesting anecdotes and stories, some funny,
Yes.
some might create some tears, I know. We'll
Yeah.
save that for the audience once
Yes.
they read your book.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a lot of different facets of your life that you explore through
Yes,
those stories,
so
and I think people will really be drawn to this.
Definitely. So after that, when you are overweight, and if you've never been overweight, it's a bit difficult for you to relate. But for you ladies who's been on this journey, and if you are really struggling with that, and you know how it feels, it's not a nice feeling. You don't have confidence, you don't have self-esteem. So what you do, you look for comfort in the wrong thing. And yes, they give you pleasure for that moment, but after that, what happened?
Ooh, I think this is a topic a lot of women
Yes.
are going to relate to.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So then after that, I got stuck into validation box, like I call it, which is a result from the first box, the family, the culture, and the overweight loss. Validation box, what I meant is because I did not have confidence in myself, I was always seeking for others' approval. Going to my friends, if Marsha need to make a decision, I did not have the confidence to make that decision. Do I do that? What do you think of that? And sometimes I saw myself doing things to please others, or doing things that I feel that they are better than me. What I meant, I thought that I was not good enough.
This is a trap we fall
Exactly.
into.
Then it's a trap. Then you see yourself as well in the dependency box. What I meant is you depend on others to make you happy.
That's
Not knowing exactly. It's dangerous because you don't know. Like I said, we do what we know. We don't know, we don't do anything if we don't know. So yeah, and you end up being disappointed. I end up being disappointed because you love, and I love with not with conditions, but when you love, you give, you expect the other person, whether it's your partner, whether it's a friend, whoever it is, but you have a relationship, at the end of the day, you expect the other person to do the same. But when the other person doesn't do that, you end up being disappointed and hurt. So, to go back to your question, at the age of 40, when turning 40, I knew that all these years, for 39 years or so, that wasn't true Marsha. It was Marsha living in boxes. Some of the boxes, like as my limiting beliefs, I was trapped in. So I could not be myself. You cannot be yourself if you don't know who you are.
So true.
So that was like, I don't know whether this is the right word, like a fabricated Marsha, pleasing others, but not really me inside.
You were not tapping into your
fabricated maybe is not the right word. So
basically you were not being like your authentic self.
That's it, my authentic self, yeah. So I was not my authentic self. So this is why I said I made a conscious decision, and I know that I wanted more than that. I wanted to find my own identity. And for me to find my own identity, it must start with me first. Who is Marsha?